I ran out of money. I raised some funding with crowdfunding, and then I came across NFTs. I got into crypto early in 2020, and I came across NFTs, and I thought that was just a genius idea, a way to fundraise and create a fan club at the same time. So we spent the last 2 years creating these 10,000 NFTs, and that's there. We are amassing NFTs on Twitter. Do you all have data? Find us on Twitter and follow.
Follow.
Yes.
Wi-Fi is free, so everybody can follow.
Yes, please. Amassing NFTs on Twitter, and in what time is it now?
In around 23 minutes.
In 23 minutes, the public minting stage will begin for those NFTs. 0.01 ETH. I'm very pleased with myself because when I picked Ethereum as the blockchain, Ethereum going proof of stake was my reason for picking it, but Ethereum going proof of stake was still something that people laughed at when you arrived at an event and said, well, I picked Ethereum because Ethereum is going to go proof of stake. Yes, we've been hearing that for a long time. And now they've gone proof of stake. So today I minted the team mint, and it cost me like $8, I think, in gas to mint 100. So if you're minting 10 or 20, it's a maximum of 20 per wallet. That will be like, I don't know, $2 in gas fees. I'm telling you, I started with Ethereum at a time when it would have cost you $300 to buy $100 worth. So, yeah, and Ethereum is right at the bottom right now. And BTC is hopping in May. So, if you buy them today, 0.01 ETH, you'll probably be quite wealthy by the end of next year. Yeah, that's what I'm about.
Yeah, no, that is actually a very great introduction. Let's kind of give a round of applause. The reason why that introduction is super great she has she's utilizing NFTs essentially. Don't know what the creative economy is. Could you define that for us? Let's start. We'll just break them down to understand your life journey,
So the basic way of making money is to make value out of something that has no value. You can go from, okay, I live in Gong, so you can go from Gong to Wakulima Market, buy a bag of tomatoes and bring them back to Gong, and then you have added value by transporting them, and then you add further value by making them easily accessible to consumers. You sit by the side of the road and you sell tomatoes when they're on their way home. And so on. Markets to buy tomatoes. And they also don't have to buy tomatoes at 6,000%. Tomatoes for 10. So you added value by doing all that transport and breaking it down and investing some. That's how you added value. You could also add value by buying some sugar, some water, gas, and making mandazis. And that is creative. You have added value to those 189 balls worth of bunga. You've made it into mandazi, and you can now sell it for 500 bob. That's basically the creative economy. And if you generally start with a blank piece of paper and you get a pencil and you add value to the blank piece of paper by drawing something or scanning it into a computer and making it digital and then making it into a logo for somebody, that's the value that you've added. And the more elaborate your creative works get, the more valuable they are. So the harder you worked, the more you want to be paid. Yeah, that's it.
That is actually a very great definition. She's let us know what value addition is in the traditional businesses and how it applies in the creative world. I hope the audience has been able to understand what the creative economy is. Have we? Or do you want further examples? Hey, Kimani, these guys are dead. But I'm just joking. Thank you for that definition. I think one other angle we can attack this question of what the creative economy is like talking a bit about the misconceptions. When guys think about DJ, they think, are they really adding value? At the events, playing us good music. So let's talk a little bit about the misconceptions of the creative economy. I can give one example as we think. For example, what she said is if you have a piece of paper and you draw on it, you've added value. And a lot of people would consider that not being right? So tell us more misconceptions.
There's a beautiful set of YouTube videos where there's a man and his wife talking to their child how they ought to get, I think it's if the creative industry was banking, how your parents would talk to you about it. The importance of arriving at the airport like somebody small and having thousands of fans coming to meet you. And just the lack of seriousness that I hesitate to say parents.
Sometimes parents with significant others attach to whether your work is worth anything.
Artists are the hardest working people.
I want to make music here just like, what? You know, the African Council, give us some of the figures. how best they seize the creative economy? How can they position themselves to be an artist?
I would have somebody advised that you should set up a serious company, do all your licensing, pay your taxes. And the data suggests that if you do that, your business has a lifetime of about 10 years, 10 to 11 years. If on the other hand you're a formal artist, your business has a lifespan of about 35 years, which suggests to me that it lasts as long as your working life. So I think the answer is to have the courage to be an informal business, to take contractors and freelancers when you have specific jobs to give, and not to try to set yourself up as a regular who can pay people salaries every month. there are, and yet there is still just painting and doing work with his hands, building sculptures and bas reliefs on walls, just keeping it going, paying his school fees, paying his kids' school fees, just keeping it going. And suddenly, 25 years later, he did a painting I wanted to buy. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, there it is hanging in my office, in the background of my Zoom calls, and I love it. I just love it. It could not be more old-fashioned. I mean, it's acrylic, it is an oil.
inapikiwa
But it's an old-fashioned painting.
ikiwa ni lapi na
So, I think that whenever new tools come up, even especially with AI, the important thing is to accept it as a contribution of the human world, which is intended to support you, to address the issues which don't work, like copyright issues in writing and painting.
sasa unasikia ni ya nini?
We are in Kenya. We are making our world in the digital universe. Like in Almasi episode 2, I have a scene where the children are sharing beads. They're sharing beads. Somebody had to be sent to home to buy beads.
Unasikia hapa ndio inasikika like
making shelling beans. This guy sat there for 3 weeks and drew pictures of hands shelling beans. And I'm sure that there is no other representation in the digital universe of kids, people shelling peas. And I would be so pissed off if you can say to ChatGPT, give me a picture of people shelling peas, and they come up something that looks like Almasi. So that's definitely got to be tackled, because I would not be upset if I was going to be paid when you got that picture of kids shelling peas. Also, I would not be upset if I was not having trouble paying my animators, if I didn't have to worry about where their food was going to come from. So definitely we need to address the economic structure in which we live in order to make tools serve us.
I think that's very powerful, especially with ChatGPT, which you mentioned, that generates images, prompting, with AI generated music, so on and so forth, that there's still the market, which I believe will actually fetch a higher price in this economy. Now, you've spoken about in your introduction that essentially you pursued a collection of 10K NFTs in order to fundraise for your studio. Can you please tell us how you're utilizing the blockchain space? You've spoken about gas and minting. I don't want to assume that the audience is aware of this terminology. So let's break that down.
All right. The thing that struck me as interesting about NFTs is their contractual nature. An NFT is basically a JPEG with a bit of code attached. And that bit of code connects back to me if I made the NFT. So that even if you sell it in 10 years, a little bit of the money that you sell it for will come back to me. This does not happen in IRL, in real life. So I mentioned my friend's painting that I bought. I bought it for 50K. Now, suppose he becomes terribly famous in the next 20 years, and one day I sell it for 500K. He won't get any of that 500K, even though it has quite value from the work that he's doing. Whereas if it's an NFT, when I sell it for 500K, you'll get another 50K. And so it was clear to me that the most important thing about NFTs was to create like a gaming situation so that people would have reasons to buy and sell them. So I created, the reason I created this vast number is so that we can play a game with them. So that if you press the bid button and you buy 10, I randomize them. So you'll get maybe 6 or 7 different ones and a couple of repetitions. But they're all different. They're 10 characters. And you will get a representative of most of your characters in those 10. But if you want to get your name into the credits of episode 3, you will need to sell some of them and buy the new ones so that you collect a full set of the full all 10 characters. And if you get that full set of all 10 characters and you DM us on Twitter, and we can see the thing in your wallet, the 10 NFTs in your wallet, then we'll put your name on a list on our website. And once your name has gone up on that list, you can sell your 10 NFTs to the next person who wants their name on the credits. And then with each successive episode, there'll be a different, there are different trades. So we'll have a different set of NFTs that have to be bought that have to be collected to get your name in the credits for each successive episode. And then with the completion of each episode completes with an online Zoom event where we present that episode to children for the first time. Children all over Kenya. We have this. It's a wonderful warm Zoom event. Schools in Eldoret and Nakuru and Wildlife Club in Samburu. Just lovely, very ordinary kids, people who have problems. They have to be interpreted for when they want to ask a question. And yeah, if your name is in the credits, you'll get the link to that Zoom event. So you can see what your money's doing. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that young people love to do. We'll be able to expand the network of people because we're at a public university, right? We have representatives from all over the country, and we'll send people home with laptops because I've tried it. It doesn't help to send them money for data. You have to really take care of the technological issues if you want people up country to attend your online event. Yeah.
I like that. You've spoken about the concept of royalties, which is very important for the artist. You keep earning from your original work, no matter how many times it sells. You've also spoken about how you are linking your NFTs to different utilities. You spoke a little bit, and this will be my last question because I know you're pressed for time. She's actually meeting. As a closing remark, I'd like you to talk more about that. But you spoke a little bit about, you mentioned copyrights. How does the blockchain really eliminate this copyright breach for the artists, where somebody can illegally download your music and use it and you don't earn as an artist, for example?
Because my NFT is indelibly linked to my wallet, then the money will just always come back. Or well, like I suppose I can go into the back and change the wallet that the money is sent to. But it's under my control. And the record is, I suppose, as permanent, unless one day all the ones turn to zeros in the digital world. It's as permanent as it gets. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I actually wanted you to answer. True ownership, the unique ID. At this point, I'm gonna open the floor for any questions from the audience. Let's have a quick Q&A session about what we've spoken about. We've touched on NFTs, about the creative economy. We've spoken about where's the money, how to position yourself as a brand. If anyone has a question, this is your time before we close this.
Yeah.
Okay, mine is not really a question, but maybe a comment. What you do with the Almasi, I think it's really important because let's say I began thinking about NFTs, I think last year around August. And it's as you say, back then before Ethereum went into the US, it was I was working, I wanted to work there and maybe create an NFT. But when I went to OpenSea, the prices really I was student, I was dumbfounded. I did not get into that. But seeing you achieve what you've been able to achieve, if you compare with other big industries, UIC, what they've done, then it's here locally, like you can went to educate and confirm that it's real. So I think it's it's something that the country and society. That's my comment.
Thank you. I'd like to say something about money. One mistake that I made was to deploy my contract. OpenSea changed its rules on the 4th of August, or on the 4th of October. For the last 2 years, we've been uploading using lazy minting, which is upload one NFT at a time. And then when you upload lazy minting, I think I had to pay like the very first time I logged into OpenSea, but it wasn't that much, maybe $20 or $30. And but thereafter, you didn't pay anything. And what OpenSea said was that the person who paid to actually create the connection to the blockchain was your customer, your first customer paid to mint it. And it was a lot of hard work. Let me not lie. It was a lot of hard work. You click, you upload the image. You click, you copy paste the 7 attributes from the Excel sheet. It was a lot of work. And then you have to press and confirm that you're a human being, do that validation thing. It took me a long time. And then on the 4th, they changed their rules so that you have to pay first to deploy a contract. So, and then you can just upload the 10,000 images and an Excel sheet, and maybe not to use that word just. The first time I uploaded, I found that there were errors. It was full of errors. They just crept in that Excel sheet. And what I ought to have done is used OpenSea testnet. So that's what I did. Once we'd gone through, somebody went through, and Cheryl went through, and he found 3 pages of A4s on both sides, 6 pages of errors that had to be corrected. And once I corrected them, I went and uploaded it on OpenSea testnet. The testnet is free, and it's funded by a token called Mumbai on Polygon, and it is free to get Mumbai. You log in on the Polygon website, the testnet, and it will send you 0.5 Mumbais a day. And then it's free. I generated 3 collections on Mumbai for free. And then finally, after now we worked through all the errors, when I uploaded it again on OpenSea, it was error free. Yeah, if you find any errors, I'll give you a free NFT. Yeah. We really worked on that thing now. Yeah. But then it's practically free to make things with Polygon. It's much cheaper than Ethereum, but yeah, Ethereum is most expensive. The way it works now, I have paid to deploy the contract. I paid about $105, as it said, but it cost about $150 of actual Ethereum with the gas fees to deploy that contract. It's really a very complicated enterprise. And so now it's cheaper for people to do their buying and selling. There's gas fees. And it is, but it's hardly any gas fees. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Francis.
Uh-huh.
I run a Web3 podcast show.
Uh-huh.
So I've come to this conference to meet people like you, talk about blockchain methods. So, okay, first of all, I would like to probably host you so that you share what you're sharing with us with the rest of the world.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. If you DM me or can you DM before I follow you back?
I'm just no. Try to block me.
Make it up. See, that's the
Okay,
only
okay.
logical reason my hood is missing now. Uko na hood.
Why you asking us? I was wondering if probably
I see.
you thought exploring the other tools like using your
Shit, mbona
this tools always possible because it's being cheaper, but you talked about it. Then my second question is, I think it's about flipping. You know, everyone goes to the NFT world with different mindsets. So probably I'm a flipper. I want to buy NFTs so that I can flip them some other time. But say someone like he loves artwork, he wants to own the artwork, then probably I'm a philanthropist, I want to buy it to support your amazing work. So my question is on the flipper. If probably I want to understand what's the use case of your NFTs that will probably make me buy it so that when I invest it, someone else
We want to work, so they want to buy it.
maybe before you answer, can I give probably an analogy with what app? So they sold this notion that if you own God app, you can be an exclusive member of some expensive clubs, stuff like that. So if I were rich, I was totally sold out of bought it because now that's a genuine use case. So I'm just wondering about a mask.
Ah,
Right. Just to add to the question, I don't want to assume anybody knows anything. Define L2, maybe talk about Polygon, Arbitrum, Ethereum. Then you can speak about utilities, which I think is this question, and the concept of flipping, right?
what time is it?
We have time. We have time.
There is so many questions you can answer.
My project is an animation. Yeah, this massive project is an animation. Tomorrow is International Animation Day, and the Animation Association is having an event in Western. They've got some South African visitors. They want me to come and talk to them. I need to go. So layer 2 is an additional token which is made on top of Ethereum. So it's like using Ethereum to make a different token. Pretty much like Airtel sells you airtime, but you make your phone calls on the Safari network. Yeah, I don't understand what logic is. I do not understand how Polygon manages to have a token which is free to use on the Ethereum network, which is not free to use. I do not understand it. Yeah, that's what the legends are. Yeah. And I just did not understand why a person would want to use layer 2 when they can use it. That's my very basic logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use case. Right. A use case is something that the NFTs are used for. If to face reality, you would not buy a massive NFTs unless you are interested in a children's animation in Africa. I do not understand why Doge Pound holders were so excited that they were funding a dog pound in East Africa. I couldn't see the point. If they wanted to support a dog pound, what was wrong with the KSPCA? But it sounded good. The Almasi project, the animation came first. I mean, this animation has been running a long time. I did the first sketch. You know, I was looking for an African girl. I realized I had one in the house. I said to her, "Stop!" I did the first sketch. She was 3 years old, and now she's 18. So this project has been running a while. The NFTs have just
Oh,
hopped on recently. Yes. And what you can do, what you can get with your NFTs is you can buy Almasi merchandise cheap, which you wouldn't be interested in unless you want our massive merchandise, or unless you want our massive merchandise for your children's Christmas present. I mean, they are really nice. It is like this T-shirt, and I've got all decals and cups, things like that. You get them cheap. But the main thing that you get to do is to be in the credits of the Almasty series. You'll have a different set of NFTs to collect, to be in the credits of each successive next episode. And really, if you don't think that that's a use case, it's not a use case. There's no getting away from it. You would not be interested in our massive NFTs unless we think that there's a market for Kenyan NFTs connected to a genuine Kenyan, original Kenyan animated series, which is like looking for unicorns. Yeah.
Also, as we wrap up, the question, firstly, you could have bought the monkey G-Bag running Yacht Club at cheap. And secondly, their utilities came far later on after they had already raised money. So essentially, we're doing nothing but selling you a dream that if you get involved now, we'll build private clubs, we'll build games, so on and so forth. But I guess with that, our very beautifully spoken panelist has to jump off. You have any final remarks?
To get anything done in the creative world, you have to get very, very comfortable with feeling stupid. I remember I was on Y254 yesterday morning on TV, and that's one of the things I said, which apparently made an impact. Yeah, you have to become very comfortable with feeling stupid. You have to be comfortable with feeling stupid, and you have to be comfortable with people telling you you're mad.
Let's give a round of applause. That was amazing, wasn't it? I'm sure there's a bunch of creativity there. And you're now looking at it from a different perspective, aren't you? You can now make money on Web3. Trust me. She's telling you the truth. A lot of people in this room have made money by minting, by holding, and like what he said, Shiba Inu. The photo, please. See, like Shiba Inu, the same thing. They're trying to build utilities now after people bought into the project. So ideally, there's some people who do it vice versa, but she said the best way to do it is come from a tree. Your perspective, right? So we're gonna have an amazing keynote because, as she mentioned, Safaricom and Airtel play a big role in technology and where we're going right now. So we're going to have Andrew Masela come in from Safaricom to explain the role of 5G in the emerging technology. And Masela, yeah. Give a hand of applause, guys. Come on.
No problem.
Afternoon, guys. So it's exciting. Thanks for the invite. I know we've been talking about Metaverse, blockchain, AI. We're also talking about Web 3.0. And I think for me, it's very simple. I want to talk about what enables the pace, the change of technology. A couple of things, and you can Google something up. There's a famous blog out there called the 7 layers of the metaverse. And if you look at all those layers, they are key foundational layers. One of them is the connectivity. And I'll just explain briefly how connectivity enables all this. But so I'm Andrew from Safaricom, I lead innovation. I'm joined by a couple of my team members, Marvin and Steve, if you can stand up and wave. Okay, so Steve is in charge of tech research, Gen AI, blockchain, what have you. He looks into all that. And as a team, what we try and do is to accelerate the future. Of course, probably some of us are customers of Safaricom, and our key vision is really to be a purpose-led technology company. Straight to the topic. I'd like to anchor the subject of today's discussion on a few foundational elements so that you can appreciate why they are calling it Web 3.0, why not Web 5.0, why is it Web 3.0? So previously, just a quick narrative of something called industrial revolutions. Brief history class, and then we come to where we are. So we are currently seated on what we could arguably call Industry X, or Industry 4.0 if you like. And it's, if you're at 4, you started from 1, obviously, right? So what was 1 about? 1 was about just having automation of farm machinery. Basically, it was moving from using human energy to using tools. Industry 2.0, the early 1900s, I know you may have studied theories of people like Frederick Taylor, theory of the farm, what have you. That's the time they invented electricity. Then what electricity did, it enabled factories to actually run 24 hours. Then we came to Industry 3.0, which is where we're sitting. Industry 3.0 is about actually have the age of telecoms, the computers, and what have you. And funny enough, even in telecoms, it started from 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. So why is 5G very important in this discussion? And that's what we'll be discussing about. And it ties to the discussion around industrial revolution. It's also what you call the evolution of the. So it's one thing. Web 1.0 was about the internet. So the internet was like the notice board you see. You see notice boards around, right? So Web 1.0 was about the internet talking to people. Web 2.0 was about the internet talking to you, but also talking to the internet and talking to other people across the internet. That's the Facebook and what have you. Now, Web 3.0 is a bit interesting because it's a shift from that. It means you have your personality on the internet. So that's where the crypto discussion is coming in. Think about the metaverse discussion. It comes in. So it means you literally live in the internet. And perhaps the internet also came in around Industry 3.0. So if you think about it, it's almost like you have your life on the internet. And now I'll tell you why 5G is important. When you compare Africa and maybe Europe, Africa doesn't have a lot of fixed networks. We rely on mobile networks. And with the age we are going to, where you're talking about metaverse, living your life there, then having a reliable network is very key. And as we look at the 7 layers of the metaverse, we see that connectivity, 5G is at the base of it. I won't go into the evolution of 5G maybe in another session. But 5G addresses 3 key things. When you think about the telecoms evolution, and if you want, you can read about the 3GPP standards and what have you, there are 3 key things if you are to take out from this session. Number 1 is responsiveness. That is what is called in technical terms the latency, right? So if you are having a virtual experience, one thing you want to have is responsiveness. So 5G, when you look at the evolution of the technology, it solves for that by having technologies like the edge, also how devices communicate over the air. So it solves, number 1, the latency. So that when you have your avatar, you're able to respond as it's real time. So when you click on a certain image, it needs to respond as if you're shaking someone's hand, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is throughput and capacity. Think about it this way. You're living your entire life and you want your virtual representation over the internet, which means you have to sort of mimic your emotions, mimic your physical presence, mimic how all your 5 senses are feeling, try and put it in a virtual world. I think let me use that example for this forum. And that's where the capacity and the bandwidth comes in. And 5G is not only a technology to actually enable a disruption to come about, but it's a consumption of the same. Think about the big data points. That is, we are moving from GBPS to GBPS. So to actually process that on a router, we need artificial intelligence. So even 5G is actually employing the disruptive tech. At times, we even need to pass, of course, information is moved faster through light, but we need a lot of those technologies. And again, now the network space is becoming more probability and less of just passing the bits. You guys have heard about qubits, right? Qubits, where I know in the digital world it's 0 or 1. Qubits is a whole probability. There are many other probabilities in between. And that's the compute that's required. So we've talked about the capacity. We've also talked about the latency. And the third and most important aspect, and you heard about Internet of Things, and now the Internet of Everything. And that's where the shift comes in. So 5G enables many devices to be connected at once. And if you think about it, if you actually to relay your senses over in the internet, then every part of your body becomes a sensor. From your fingers, your wearables. I know now the philosophy is to be digital, probably you need a phone to connect to your network. But think about intelligent networks, where your brain is actually automatically plugged into a network. And everything going on in your body can be transmitted in real time. The concept of multiverse, whereby you're multi-talented and you want to be different worlds. Like, for instance, I had so many engagements. If there's a way we could have an Andrew speaking in another university, then that would be great. Yeah, and those are many things connected. So that's how 5G comes to play. And I think the key message I want to actually leave you guys with is, in as much as you're building for the disruptive tech and Web 3.0, the traditional jobs, like putting up a mast, build 5G, will never go away. They'll still be with us for a while. So those are also important skills to learn about. And also just to, as an educational piece, and as we go and read about 7 layers of metaverse, maybe as an introduction, then you'll appreciate how companies like Safaricom are helping you in the metaverse world. But over and above that, we are really excited because one thing we want to do, we want to enable you to be able to actually bring your experience to life. And we are keen, that's why we're here with Steve, to see what sort of projects we can engage with. And that's also the other aspect of coming to this place. And I'll be around in case you have any questions, queries, comments. I'm around for us to engage. So for today, allow me to pause there. And maybe I can take 1 or 2 questions. Or comments. Yeah.
So when is Safaricom going to give us an M-Pesa NFT or an M-Pesa coin? It's big. An M-Pesa token. When can we expect something like that from Safaricom?
Well, an amazing question. I think I'll first start with Safaricom. I think our purpose is to listen to our customers and address their needs. And I'm happy to, first of all, pick it as an input, but as well, allow me to respond to the same. So at Safaricom, we have what we call the Daraja API. So the token doesn't have to come from Safaricom. You can go to developer in safaricom.co.ke. We have APIs. You can actually integrate and create your own NFT application on top of M-Pesa. Whether it's running on NFT or not, it will not be important for now. But I think the key message, you as a dev seated right here, you could actually develop that NFT.
Second question over there. Yes, answer your question.
So guys, log on to developer.safaricom.co.ke, plug into our APIs, create those NFTs. Thank you.
So my question is, you've mentioned like
you're going to bring yourself physically in AI, right? And you're going to integrate IoT in everything. And you're going to like integrate IoT in everything.
Wow.
So I'm curious on if we are going to bring ourselves physically, virtually, like bringing out your own on a virtually and integrating it. This means that we are going to be feeding, we are going to be having real time because we use devices to detect everything that you have, every emotions you feel, like every aspect of your life online and deploy it somewhere or post it somewhere so that when you go virtual, you see yourself. So how are you going to protect me when I do that from someone else who might do the same thing? We might share the same characters and hobbies. We might have so many similarities. How are you going to protect me and differentiate me from the other person?
I think interesting question. I'll start from a philosophical stance. I think when you look at the philosophy, part of it behind Metaverse is the merging of physical and digital worlds that you can't tell whether you're in one or the other. For instance, is Andrew here or is this my avatar? You know, such questions. And I get the concerns. Like any society, even the physical society, I think we are comfortable because as human beings, as far as we have the recorded history, a couple of thousand years, we've been able to live and survive in this world. That's why there's certainty. You can walk out of that door and no meteorite will land on you. You know, there's some certainty. When you look at the digital world, now those are really concerns. And actually, as people are thinking about digital world, the question of ethics also comes into play because ethics is going to be very key within the scene. But if you look at it again, it's a space in as much as you're fearing, it's also inevitable. So as a developer, how do you come in and try and create certainty in that space? So it's a question that there's no straight answer today, but it's a future that you can't run away from. So the dilemma is how can we collaborate and ensure there's certainty in that future? Like any society, it will grow up as a society and come to maturity at whichever time. Anyone else with a question?
Hello, how are you?
Hey.
So my question is regarding Safaricom strategy and its newest competitor in town, which is Starlink. Right? So what impact do you think Starlink will have? And what is the differentiator with Safaricom's 5G? Should we move?
Okay, I won't talk about competition much, but I think when you think about connectivity, let me talk about Kenya. I think there's still more opportunity because Safaricom have covered 90 something percentage, 99 point something, so there's still opportunity to cover. But on the Starlink discussion, allow me to demystify the technology. Starlink is a low Earth orbit technology, and Starlink is actually to be deployed in far rural remote areas. As well, when you look at the target for Starlink, there's also the acquisition cost of the device to actually set it up. They don't have a local database, local data center yet, or an Earth station, Earth landing station. So it's going to take a while before technologies like Starlink actually pick up when we think about latency. But I think in this case, I'd say is the cooperator to serve the community. I think the purpose for Safaricom is to actually get everyone covered. So we look at them as filling a market need, maybe which may exist. So from the competitors' point, that's it. But I think also to take a chance to educate us on what Starlink is. And I think if you Google, there's the acquisition cost, what exactly it does. So, yeah.
It says acquisition cost, which is about 100,000 Kenyan shillings, so it's quite expensive. But thank you for explaining what studying is for everyone else.
Thank you. One last one, maybe.
It's like a comment. Safaricom usually have buttons for TikTokers as a way of so I was wondering if office and suggestion that they would introduce buttons for people who are developing see there's a buttons for TikTok stuff like that. And then the second comment is I'm sure you understand about how it's do you think Safaricom is going to do something like an education form of reducing transaction costs to its users? Sometimes it's a bit expensive.
Okay, so I think to your second question, thank you for your first comment. I will take it as feedback. It would be interesting. I don't know, would you want bandits for GitHub or something?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's my interpretation. I think for the second question, whether we can go to build networks, like I said, always listening to customers, even here, I have listening here. And I think it would be interesting. One thing about our philosophy, we use all available technologies to actually be able to serve our customers. And we're very big on forces. The forces are customer, community, colleagues, and company. I think here we are wearing the hat of community. And I think I'll take it as feedback. And I think from this conference, I've heard you a previous question that you asked. And perhaps you can interrogate, is there a need to do an L2 for Kenya, for instance? Can you actually do it as devs? Do you actually need Safaricom to do it? Or can you do it as devs? When you look at some of these projects, it's devs actually who will come up with it. So I'd like to actually throw a challenge. When we have this conference next year, why can't we have a hackathon of 2 or 3 teams that have developed an L2? Why not? Can we develop? Actually, now technology is about open source and their tools. Even in one network, why can't we build one? So allow me to throw back the challenge as well. Thank you, and it was nice being here.
Give us that. That was amazing. I'm waiting for this.
Yeah.
And today, I'm going to the doctor. Thank you very much. So photos.
Type C pahali.
Type C.
Hiyo ni type C.
Changamka. Introduce yourself before we begin. Unajua umepanda stage.
So we do blockchain protocols, AGI, and such. So we're basically here, we can interact.
Maybe I should cable the photo directly.
That's great.
Yeah, laptop.
And great. So we're going into the
Maybe
next session.
okay.
Sorry. Have you guys been enjoying the sessions so far?
Yeah.
I don't. It doesn't sound like you guys have.
No PowerPoint.
Okay. So, man.
Yeah.
Start out.
The pool that we just start for a minute. Straight away. And I want you guys to do exactly as I say. And you know, I understand here I have a lot of good things. I have a lot of incentives for you guys. So I want you guys to follow instructions, right?
When you present worship books, page.
All right.
Golden bed.
So when I say you walk, right? Just walk a little bit. Just around where you are.
Find some space and walk around and find some space.
And then stop, you stop wherever you are. All right. Are you ready? Are you guys ready? All right. All right. So when I say walk, you walk. Walk.
Let's walk. We're walking.
Then stop right there. Walk. You guys are following instructions. I like that. Stop. All right. So now we're gonna do the reverse. Okay. When I say stop, you walk. And when I say walk, you stop. Okay. All right. So stop. Stop. Don't pay attention. Hey, you guys, no one's not paying attention. Stop. Walk. All right. You guys are very, very attentive. Thank you so much. Actually, I wanted someone to not follow instruction and give them a gift or not. But since all of you are good, you can now take a seat as I introduce the next panel. It's gonna be our second last panel. Man, I think it's know your neighbor time. It's know your neighbor time. Know your neighbor time. Actually, yeah, we did that very early. So if you're seated around someone you don't know, make sure you say hello, get to know their name, get to know what they do. They might be your next partner, they might be your next fiance, they might be your next, you never know, enemy. So you better know your enemies. All right. As we do that, I want to introduce the next panel, and we're going to start by the moderator of the session. And this guy is one of the best smart contract developers or auditors out there. They specialize in the Web3, they specialize in the back end of things. If you want your smart contract audited, if you're building a project, he's the guy to go to. He's also the founder of a refi project where they're trying to help save the world, or rather make the world go green, but then they're also trying to put blockchain in that, right? And without further ado, help me with a round of applause. Welcome Ibrahim Aziz. If you can do better than that, yeah? Great. Let's keep the energy going. If the afternoon, everybody's in bed, yes? Yes? I want to put it on the nights. Well, like, I'm going to put it. We are in the corner, like, let's check it in. I'm going to nights.
Afternoon, guys.
Imagine
Let's talk.
Yeah.
So, it's next part.
Unaendelea zaidi mimi.
In particular, we're going to investments as well. But then we have less figures. So what should we choose how we? The first one,
Mambo.
So
hapo hapa
if safari.
bana watu walikuwa safari bana, nikija Nairobi na wanaenda Kilifi bana.
Kilifi hizo pale.
Mimi naishi Kilifi. Wakija Kilifi mimi bana iko iliniuma.
I think that's what they're familiar with. So here we have the city of Bastian Langenbach. Welcome. The next person that we have, from the start of this event until now. He's a technical person, he's a technical person, he goes technical koala, he's also my brother. His name is Mohammed Aziz.
I need to join this panel. Let me get another seat, okay?
Say big brother Rose. Thank you, brother. So maybe we can start by introductions. I think I generally introduced you guys. I think